Respected Senators, first of all, I salute you for staying with us till this late time. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ibrahim Shaqaqi. I'm a visiting student from Palestine, and I've been here for a year, and I'm going back home in a month. I can stand in front of you today and by having the last word, I can attempt to play on your emotions like some have today. I could address you from the perspective of personal loss and victimhood, because I'm certain I've seen more suffering than almost anyone in this room. Targeting your emotions can be as easy as describing a day of a Palestinian, talking about a siege, a wall, talking about roadblocks, illegal occupation, settlements, not being able to move, talking about economic, political oppression. I have chosen not to. Today I wish to speak to your minds, your logic, your ethics, your reasoning, your soul, and your sense of justice. In my short 25 years living in Palestine under Israeli occupation, I have never been empowered by inaction from the outside as I have this time. This bill asserts that I am human, that Palestinians are human and deserve to be protected like all peoples, that the Israeli government cannot break international law without being questioned, not more or less than others, but exactly the same questioning. While this bill is a victory for Palestinians, President Smelko, it is not in any way a loss for the Israeli side. On the contrary, it aims to better the situation in the area. Let me take a small quote from Rabbi Lynn Gottlieb, who's the co-founder of Shomer Shalom Network for Jewish Nonviolence. She says, "It takes tremendous courage to take such a stance. Thank you. You are standing in partnership with Jews, Muslims, Christians, Israelis and Palestinians and others around the world who are working for a non-violent solution that affirms the dignity, security and well-being of everyone residing in Israel and Palestine." End quote. It's clear after all the speakers, and it seems fairly obvious, that claiming this bill is against the Jewish community is not only untrue, and it's disrespectful for Jewish people who are supporting it, and for Jewish people around the world who do not identify themselves with the Israeli army. Desmond Tutu talked to you, and you know what he mentioned in that letter. I find it outrageously naive to communicate to a student body by someone that calling before destroying your house makes any difference. Senators, if somebody calls you telling you that your house will be destroyed tomorrow because you live on a border area, will that make you feel better when it's destroyed? Will that make you feel safe? It's ironic that while the lobby that defends and justifies the Israeli military-industrial complex is one of the most influential in the US, students on this side claim to be silenced and alienated by the bill, while in reality it has been the Palestinian voice who has been oppressed. Let me tell you something. US vetoes to numerous UN resolutions targeting Israel, that is silencing. Bias in mainstream media outlets is silencing. Denial of visas for Palestinians, the one who asked why there are no Palestinians here, denial of visas for Palestinians to travel and speak is silencing. Stopping foreign media outletting to enter the Palestinian lands and conveying message to the world is silencing. Being imprisoned for being part of a student group, being imprisoned for 2 years because you are part of a student group, that is silencing. When you are jailed for protesting the demolition of your house, that's silencing. When you are being beaten for disagreeing about confiscation of your land, that is silencing. Childish actions like tearing down posters today, that is silencing. Senators, when I am afraid to be videotaped today because I'm going back home in 4 weeks, that is silencing. They should not dare compare the suffering and silencing of the Palestinian people with this bill. This bill, which has been officially endorsed by 40-something student groups, another 40-something community groups, several Israeli professors, citizens, institutions, human rights organizations, all of them will be alienated, and you should be, after you stayed up till 5 a.m. that day, listening to opinions and voting 16-4 in favor of that. We are doing this together, to those who talk about division. As a campus, as a community, senators and students, faculty and staff, Israelis and Palestinians together. This is not how a lot of people have been screaming at your tired faces all night. About people having, this is not about threats. This is about people having different opinions. This does not mean that there are division on the campus. It means that there's a democratic venue when people present their opinions for many hours, and in the end, there is a vote. After all what you've heard, and if you didn't catch my point yet, I think what I want to say is that I believe that the veto President Smelko, after a 16-4 vote and a 6-7 hour discussion without being there till 4 a.m. was not the right thing to do. This situation is a struggle between power and justice. I am sad for you because you will be remembered as the person who tried to stop this from happening. And I'm sure in years you will regret this. You have chosen hastily to side with power. I urge the students and the senators to side with justice. I have never in my life asked an Israeli soldier for help. I will be helping him liberate himself from the master-slave dilemma. With the huge difference between Israeli soldiers and yourself, I do not ask your help. I will help you, because when you agree, you have a rested conscience. After today, I'm sure I will be back here, maybe in 5 years, maybe 10 more, maybe 20. But I will be here talking to students about our efforts, like people from South African divestment have been talking to us. I ask you to listen, think, feel, and override this veto. And in the end, I just want to yield the rest of my time to another voice from Palestine. It's a short video, and I just want you to keep in mind that in preventing medical assistance from any injured person is a grave violation of the 13 and 16 article of the Geneva Convention and is considered a war crime.
I'm here to speak about a personal story, a story of my family. This picture is for my father. He's a farmer. He's 65 years old. He lived abroad for over 30 years and then he returned home. On January the 16th of this year, during the Israeli invasion of Gaza, my father and my two brothers were spending the night in our farm. It's in the outskirts of Khan Yunis. They spent Thursday night there, and Friday they woke up in the morning, they did some of the farm chores, they had their breakfast, their coffee, and then they were planning to head back home, but they were waiting for the daily lull or ceasefire to start. On that day, the ceasefire was taking place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It was announced in the radios and newspapers both in Israel and Palestine. Around 12:45 afternoon, they got in the car and started driving.
Kasal was hit by 18 bullets and killed. Ibra... Okay.
For 12 hours, Israeli authorities did not arrest them and did not allow anyone to treat them for their injuries. They used a cell phone to call for help, but ambulances were not allowed to treat them. Ibrahim and his father lay wounded and bleeding, while family members, aid organizations, and media outlets tried to get permission to help them.
My father received a call from Al Jazeera channel. Another call, they asked him, "You are there, tell us what happened. Where are you?" He told them, "We're driving home, you were shot. One of my sons died and the other is still bleeding and I'm still bleeding. We need an ambulance right away." need an ambulance now. Save my son's life. If you call me in another hour, maybe I won't be here to respond.